Right now, someone just woke up on their birthday. They checked their phone, saw the notifications piling up, and immediately felt this quiet dread wash over them. Not sadness, not excitement, just this overwhelming urge to treat today like any other Tuesday. They're making coffee, answering emails, and when someone inevitably asks any big plans, they'll shrug and say, probably nothing. And psychologists have a name for this, but it's not what you think. Because what's happening in your brain when you ghost your own birthday is about being humble or low maintenance. Your brain might actually be running a completely different emotional operating system, one that's been quietly protecting you for years. Stay with me, because the real reason you avoid your birthday might explain how you handle love, disappointment, and attention in every other area of your life. You know these people. Maybe you are this person. You hide your birthday on social media. You take a sick day to avoid office cake. You tell your partner, please, no gifts, let's just order takeout. To everyone else, you look chill, easygoing, above the drama. These are the birthday ghosts. The it's just another day crew. And here's what nobody's talking about. This behavior isn't random. It's actually a sophisticated psychological defense system that reveals everything about how you process expectations, control, and self-worth. Let's start with a thing nobody admits. A lot of I don't care about birthdays energy is actually I don't trust the universe to come through for me. Psychologists call this defensive devaluation. Basically, if you expect something to hurt, you convince yourself you never wanted it in the first place. Your brain builds this emotional firewall, like antivirus software, but instead of blocking malware, it blocks hope, because hope is dangerous. Hope says, maybe this time will be different. Maybe people will remember. Maybe I'll actually feel special. And if you've had enough birthdays where people forgot, showed up late, or made it about themselves, your brain learns a lesson. Okay, we're not doing this anymore. Picture this. You're 10 years old. You wake up early because you're excited. You're waiting for someone to remember. Hours go by. Everyone's busy. Someone snaps at you about chores. By the time they finally say, oh, right, it's your birthday, you've already decided, next year, I'm not getting my hopes up. But here's the kicker. You're not actually avoiding disappointment. You're just controlling when and how it happens. Now, before you think this is all just childhood stuff, let me show you what else is going on. Sometimes it's not about fear at all. It's about freedom. For a lot of people, birthdays feel like emotional performance art with rules nobody agreed to. You're supposed to be happy. You're supposed to feel grateful for every low-effort HBD text. You're supposed to perform joy on command. Psychologists call this reactance, when your brain rebels against being told how to feel. Your birthday becomes like a stage you never auditioned for. Everyone's watching, waiting to see if you look happy enough. And if you don't naturally love being the center of attention, that spotlight doesn't feel warm. It feels like heat from an interrogation lamp. Imagine walking into work and someone yells, it's your birthday, before you even put your bag down. Now you're being watched all day. How does it feel to be age? Any big plans? Are you excited? And maybe you're thinking, not really. I'm tired. I have weird feelings about getting older. But because it's your birthday, you feel pressure to put on this cheerful mask. So instead of dealing with all that emotional labor, you strip the day of meaning entirely. No party, no attention, just a normal day. Plot twist, that's not always avoidance. Sometimes that's you protecting your peace. But then there's this deeper layer that most people don't want to talk about. If you're someone whose identity is built on achievement, grades, productivity, hitting goals, being celebrated just for existing can feel wrong. Psychologists call this conditional self-worth. Your brain only lets you feel good about yourself if you've earned it. And a birthday? That's literally celebrating the fact that you managed to not die for another year. You didn't achieve anything. You just survived. Think of your mind like a performance review that never ends. You're constantly tracking. What did I accomplish this year? Did I waste time? Did I backslide? Now someone goes, happy birthday. You deserve everything. And part of you goes, no, I don't. Not this year. Ask me again when I've actually done something. You won't allow yourself one day of softness because your internal judge is still in session. Here's where it gets really interesting. There's also a group of people who treat their birthday like a normal day for a completely different reason. They figured out something the rest of us are still learning. If you're highly sensitive or introverted, being celebrated is metabolically expensive. When all eyes are on you, your brain is working overtime, processing facial expressions, monitoring your own reactions, managing everyone else's emotions. It's like running a battery draining app on your phone. Within minutes, you're at 10%. Think about opening a gift in front of someone. You're not just looking at the gift. You're monitoring your face. Is my smile big enough? Do I look surprised? Did I say thank you with the right tone? It's a performance. And performances are exhausting. So when you say, I just want a normal day, you're really saying, I don't have the energy budget for this show. But now we need to talk about the uncomfortable truth, because some of you are lying to yourselves. Here's what nobody wants to admit. Sometimes a person saying, please don't make a fuss, is running a secret test. You tell everyone you hate birthdays. You insist they ignore it. But deep down, a tiny part of you is waiting. You're waiting to see who loves you enough to disobey you. You're thinking, if they really knew me, they'd know I don't want to party, but they'd also know I don't want to be forgotten. It's psychological warfare with yourself. You reject the love before it's offered, to protect yourself from the possibility that it might not come at all. You convince yourself you're above needing validation, that you're more evolved than people who need parties and presents. But that superiority? It's just loneliness wearing a costume. You're not actually indifferent. You're just really, really good at pretending, even to yourself. So here's the reframe that changes everything. Treating your birthday like a normal day doesn't automatically mean you're damaged or cold. In a culture obsessed with peaks, the parties, the viral moments, the manufactured joy, there's something powerful about finding contentment in the plateau. You don't need the calendar to tell you when to feel worthy. You don't need external validation to confirm your existence. You figured out that your worth didn't magically appear because Earth completed another lap around the sun. You were already worth celebrating on the most random, boring Tuesday of the year. The real power move isn't turning your birthday into a high-stakes test of who loves you, but it's also not pretending you don't have any needs at all. Maybe your version of celebration is small, quiet. Maybe it's letting one trusted person know, I don't want a big thing, but I would like to feel seen today. Or maybe it's just admitting to yourself, yeah, it stung when people forgot. Instead of gaslighting your own feelings with whatever, I didn't care anyway. Remember that person at the beginning? Making coffee like it's just another day? The power there isn't that they feel nothing. It's that they get to decide what this day means, instead of letting past disappointments, social pressure, or fear of rejection decide for them. You're not the person who hates birthdays. You're the person who's finally understanding what this day brings up for you, and choosing consciously what to do with that. So I'm curious, and I really want to know this. If no one could judge you and no one could disappoint you, what would your ideal birthday actually look like? Drop it in the comments. I read all of them, and the answers always surprise me. If you're into this kind of quiet psychology, the stuff you barely notice you're doing, hit subscribe because we're diving into why some people physically can't accept compliments next. That one's going to hit even deeper. Because once you understand how you handle one day of attention, you'll start seeing the same patterns in how you deal with love, success, and every other moment when the spotlight finds you.